One, walk them all. This is a last minute. This was a last resort thing. This was last minute, and I honestly didn't come prepared for this, but what the hell? Might as well get it out of the way. This is gonna be possibly one of the only times I'm ever gonna do an Adrasia stream on a day that isn't a Sunday, with the exception of the Friday stream that I did with a reality check. A lot of things have occurred since I last talked about Adrasia. I mean, there is nothing I could say that would describe the type of person she really is. And hell, even Shani put on this little show to pretend to mourn for her mother's passing. Hell, Shani lost her. So you've heard that Shani lost her mother recently. Adrasia lost her mother not long ago. And instead of making a video pretending that she's mourning her demise, mourning her death, instead she pretty much shits on her mother by claiming that everything that these people have done to her, claiming that people are still claiming that her family is the root of all her own problems. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My question is that this: how is it possible for someone this callous, this evil? How is it possible for someone to be this heartless, even in the face of a complete loss? I still cannot understand how anyone could be this heartless. Then again, to know Adrasia is to watch her videos and feel absolute hatred towards her. And honestly, I cannot stress this enough. So, again, without further ado, let's get into the madness that is Adrasia. Before we start, oh, hey, Blue, how's it going? Now, before we start, just know that I have an utmost sense of condolences to Aunt Kathy. And, of course, to the family and Aunt Kathy. I just want to say this. You have my utmost condolences. I am sorry for your loss. I'm sorry that you have to go through this. And just know that if you need anything at all, I'm here for you. Anyway, let's continue. Let's start with this one. I'm going to I know, Blue. I mean, a lot of people have said a lot of shit. And I was probably going along with the crowd, but it's peer pressure. I should have seen. But then again, Shit happens. Right now, let's not talk about that. We're going to be talking about Mary right now.
I'm sorry. Okay, so often when I talk about the things I see during the day, the homeless population, the drug dealers, the drug users, you guys laugh and say, "Well, those are your people. Ha, that's you. You want them to live free and have everything that they want." And ha ha. They're not my people. They're just people that I see, that I talk about, that I document. I don't have people, but since y'all want to play that game of, well, those are your people, that person sleeping in the gutter, that's your person. Okay, well, who would that make your people be? The rich ones that came down and spent $5,000 for a parking space to see the Super Bowl? Is that your people? Um, I don't know. It's just, why is the world the way it is? Your people would happily spend $5,000 for a parking space and drive past tents with my people existing and feel absolutely nothing. There's such a disconnect between your people and my people that you literally can't even understand each other. I can't understand paying $5,000 to see a football game and then driving past homeless people. You can't understand being homeless.
Mary, to be honest with you, this is why nobody likes you. You really think that are you are by far one of the most entitled people I've ever seen. I don't understand how anyone like you could ever even function, let alone say those irreprehensible shit as you did. You you're ungrateful. You are the most ungrateful person I have ever met, or let alone I've ever seen. Yes, it's time to drink to Batman. But at least you can look at a cute velociraptor while doing so. At least you can look at a cute velociraptor just talking in a studio room. Don't worry, I'm not going to eat you.
Being traumatized, falling into drugs or alcohol to deal with it, and not being strong enough to pull out. There's a severe disconnect. And unfortunately, I think money is the most damning factor.
Keep in mind that this dumb bitch here, that this narcissistic brat made all the decisions to put herself in the situation that you see right before you. No one told her to, well, people said, well, actually, I think someone did tell her about getting benefits for weed. But no one actually did tell her to go run away to Los Angeles to be homeless, abandoning a few cats in her that were in her care, a few house cats that were supposedly in her care and were left to die just so that she can get free weed and mooch off the government. Again,
Right, so I'm gonna be getting into Pokemon in a little bit. I waited today. Well, I went back to sleep.
I might still use the
I
anime
am
boy.
having a bad Anniversary reaction day.
Anniversary reaction. Are you talking about the day you pretty much on the day of Roberta Laws's death? Are you talking about the anniversary of the murder of Roberta Laws? I mean, I could understand why you would have a negative reaction because, well, you were pretty much involved in that poor woman's murder. You didn't even care enough to even save her life while Kenneth McBride, her fiance of 10 years, strangled the life out of her, and you did nothing to stop him.
That's the only thing I can assume it is, because my period ended 3 days ago.
Gross.
So it's not PMS, you know? But I woke up this morning feeling like I was PMSing. That's literally the best way to describe it. I felt like I was PMSing. I woke up irritated. Everything was just upsetting me. Like, I tried to watch videos on YouTube, and every voice was just like grating and annoying, even people that I liked.
I think that's your guilty conscience. That's either your guilty conscience telling you that's either a guilty conscience or you're going through withdrawals because you haven't had alcohol or marijuana in over a few days and you're feeling the signs of withdrawals.
I felt sick. I felt tired, groggy. I went for a long walk to try to calm myself down, and I just felt weak, which doesn't make sense because I've been taking care of myself recently.
Yeah, right. You've been fasting, you've been trying to self medicate by drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana. If that's your definition of taking care of yourself, then most fitness gurus are saying it wrong, are doing it wrong.
I've put off gluten for a bit. I've been eating healthy. I've been drinking milk. Like, come on. I don't drink milk. I've drank half a gallon. Anyways. Um, yeah, I'm trying. I took an extra Zoloft, so that helped. But like, I woke up at 8 o'clock this morning and I went for a long walk, and then when I got back around noon, I just went back to sleep. I was like, fuck it, I'm done with today. I can't. I'll just fucking sleep through it. It was supposed to rain. It didn't really, but trying. I'm trying to get through day by day, but every day for the next week is going to be slightly harder, I'm afraid.
I wonder
It's
why.
not something I can control. It just kind of.
I wonder why next week is going to be harder for you to even function. Maybe it's because, again, your birthday is coming and I don't know, you're still feeling guilty for what happened to Roberta Laws. This is why I say that you're worse than Shani. At least Shani can put on a performance art pretending to be grieving over her mother's death. You obviously had no empathy for when your mother passed away. You were pretty much talking shit about her and saying all these nasty things, even though she passed away not long ago. How we even proved that most of the shit that you've said in regard about your grandmother's death were not even accurate. You claimed that you were homeless after your grandmother passed away. You claimed that there was no inheritance after your grandmother passed away. You claimed that, well, they gave you $10,000 and you blew it on frivolous things. You're even more fiscally irresponsible than Rev. And that's a fucking accomplishment.
Kind of happens. It's like there's a flip that's switched in my brain, and suddenly it's filtering everything as bad and annoying and wrong and frustrating, and I might be sleeping a lot through the next week.
Good fucking riddance. But then again, knowing you, it's not going to be enough for your dumb ass. And I would have thought that she'd make a video on Valentine's Day. But let's hear what the sports team shit.
My headphones are breaking down. That's why the quality of sound in that video was horrible. Sorry. Anyways, so I know the Super Bowl is going on right now. I don't watch sports. I'm not gonna watch the game, but I'm wearing my blue because while walking around
all the
downtown,
tribute
I
videos
kept
of people
seeing
who
buildings
died.
lit up
None
in
of them
blue,
her
so
mom.
blue must be our color. So go sports. Whatever. If we win, game is about an hour away from here in the other direction, so I might not even see that much. Most likely, I'll just be going down to like Skid Row or up to Hollywood. But since the game is in Inglewood, I don't know how much of the celebration or, crushing defeat I'm going to be able to see.
She pretty much talked shit about the whole thing. Anyway, this was the one that Adonis Paul showed on late night. And this was on the 12th of February. I'm surprised Adrassi didn't make a video on Valentine's Day of all days, talking about how all that money that could have been spent on roses and chocolate and dinner dates or movie nights could have gone to the homeless. Then again, she is not well liked.
My camera's doing that thing where it freezes again. Fun. Anyways, I was trying to talk about how when big events like the Super Bowl or the Olympics happen, it really shines a light on how much our government cares more about the picture of America than the actual American people, because they have the money to do a lot more with the homeless population than they do, but they don't. But then the Super Bowl comes and suddenly they got an extra $1 billion to throw and clean up the streets, clean the homeless people out, so the tourists can have a nicer experience and bring in more money. But you're spending a whole lot of money making it nice.
Okay, first off, Mary, you're not homeless anymore. You live in a Section 8 apartment. And secondly, what gives you the right to judge how people spend their monies? I mean, you're pretty much doing the same thing by wasting all of the donations on weed and alcohol. So you have no room to talk.
In hopes that you'll get some money from the tourist. What
I
if
honestly
you
don't
spent
know. That's a
that
crystal.
money on the people living in the streets to help them, because they could give them apartments like what I've got and they wouldn't be having to clean them up. It's cheaper to put a homeless person in an apartment than it is to clean them up when they do these sweeps for big events. And it's a facade.
Why do you care about what goes on? I'm pretty sure Adrazi would have made a video on Valentine's Day saying the same thing about how the whole Valentine's Day thing is a facade, is just some cash grab or some stupid bullshit she would pull out of her ass. I mean, she doesn't have anyone who will care about her. Nobody likes her. Everybody practically hates her at this point. The 824 subscriber. Hold on, let me look at how much. 871 subscribers. Maybe they would have to sweep you up if you actually got a job. Why does the government have to fix your problems? Sort it out yourself. Exactly. You have to understand that. But keep in mind that this bitch is such an entitled little brat. She thinks that she deserves just about as much money as anyone who has a higher paying job. She expects to get to be compensated for absolutely sitting on her ass and complaining about how her life is so fucked up. Do you not see the hypocrisy here? She's complaining about how the government spends their money for tourist attractions, and yet she complains about not having money to buy weed and alcohol.
They make it look nice when the cameras are running, but then when there's no attention on the streets anymore because the Super Bowl's over or the Olympics have gone, then it's back to just gutter town, and they'll throw in a couple $1 million to clean it up when they come back to start filming. They could do so much better. I mean, all states could really. They have the money. I mean, they always have it.
I mean, then, like I said, I don't really know if she made a video on Valentine's Day, but somewhere out there she would have made a video complaining about how her family never loved you, that she is unloved and unworthy of love, and how every man in her life has sexually abused her and pretty much used her as a shield. Again, this bitch is not well liked. I mean, she is universally despised by everyone who has ever seen her. Hell, even I despise her.
For things like the Super Bowl, don't they? They always
not because
have
she's
it
homeless, but because she's an entitled brat.
For things like that. But when it comes to actually doing something to help those out there that can't, there's nothing in the budget for that. Why not? It's always there for big events.
Because that money is used to better. That money is not you. That money is not yours. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the people. You're the lowest of low. Hell, you're even the bottom of the barrel low. Why should anyone waste thousands, if not thousands or millions of dollars just to keep you satisfied? And I'm not bashing on homeless people. I'm just bashing on her, who's not even homeless. You haven't been homeless since last year. And you weren't always homeless. Most of the times you were living in a shelter, or you were living in a truck or in a motel. And that was before you had your Section 8 apartment.
I don't know. It's frustrating sometimes how much everything relies on the perception instead of the reality. of the situation.
Again, Mary, you made the decisions to be homeless.
So many of my viewers are hateful.
Well, that's true. Everyone, well, you're not well liked. You were never well liked. And the reason why you're so hateful is because, again, you do this shit to yourself.
So, of course, the response is what the homeless could get jobs and clean themselves up, or just
True.
not be dirty to begin with.
Those are options.
Problem, right? And that is the problem, is the disconnect. The fact that you, who can work, who can keep yourself clean, who can take care of yourself, cannot seem to understand that other human beings are not capable of doing these things for whatever reason.
Mary, Adrasdia, you're able-bodied. You're able-bodied. You can clean yourself up. You can get a job all you want. But you're just too, you can even file for disability, but you're just too lazy to put in the effort because, again, you want everybody to do things for you, since you cannot do anything for yourself for most of your life because you were so used. Oh shit! You're so used to have everything handed to you. You're so used to have everything handed to you on a silver platter that you can't even put in the efforts to even pull yourself pull yourself from your bootstraps and put effort in improving your life.
Physical disability, mental disability, drug addiction, pure laziness, whatever reason.
And you have all those attributes in spades, Adrastia.
These people who are out here who are unable to take care of themselves are unable to take care of themselves.
No, Mary, you're just too lazy to take care of yourself. You're just too lazy to think for yourself because you're so used to having your way. And now that your grandmother is dead, you can't comprehend. You can't even wipe your own ass. Or you're too lazy to you're just too lazy to even wipe your own ass because your grandmother did everything for you.
And there's never going to be a day when the people who are living in these tents wake up and say, shit, I guess I got to get a job today.
They do.
You know, I've been living in this damn gutter for 20 years, and it just dawned on me that I could just go and get a job at the McDonald's just now.
Then why don't you get a job at McDonald's? I mean, actually, no. Scratch that, Mary. I don't think you're cut out for any job whatsoever. I don't really think you're cut out for even the slightest ounce of employment. Hell, I could see you getting fired from McDonald's. Just like that. I mean, I could see you getting fired from McDonald's just because you're always complaining about how everyone is mean to you, how people are being cruel to you because, again, you're too lazy to even put in the efforts to wanting to improve your life. You expect other people to do things for you. But what happens when there's no one that'll save you? Then what? I mean, you've pretty much alienated almost anyone who has tried their best to help you out. You've been given almost every opportunity to even put in the efforts on improving yourself. And what did you do? You just pissed it all away because you are so selfish. You are selfish, you are greedy, and you are too much of a spoiled brat to even take any ounce of humility. So, again, Mary, you cannot tell anyone how to spend their money. You cannot tell anyone who is more deserving of their hard earned money. When you yourself are hiding away from the rest of the world, too afraid to face reality, too lazy to even think for yourself, you refuse to let go of the past, and you have done absolutely nothing to contribute to society. In hell, even Aunt Kathy and your father, whom you have claimed has been abusive to your now deceased mother, has done a lot more for society than you ever will. Hell, even your late mother has done her share of contributions to society. And what have you done? You just pretty much you pretty much have sponged off everyone who has tried to be nice to you. You're a leech, Adrastia. You're nothing more than a leech. And again, you have made every decision to put yourself in the situation that you are in right now. Just like Shani and just like truthfully Trisha, you're a freeloader. That's all you ever are. You're not homeless. You've never been homeless. Even though you claimed that you were living on the streets, you haven't been homeless for almost 3.5 years. Most of the times, even when you were living on the streets, all you did was complain about not having access to a bathroom, or you have threatened suicide over a fucking shower. I have never seen anyone I've never seen anyone as entitled as you are. Then again, there's people like Gasuba, who is extremely entitled, who is even more entitled than you ever were, who's just about as entitled as you. Hell, I even would consider putting you and Gasuba in the same league. You're both ungrateful. You both complain about the most trivial things. And you both expect people to feel sorry for you when you have done absolutely nothing. You are the worst person I've ever seen. Hell, even Shani and Rev couldn't even compare to you. And that's a fucking accomplishment. Even when you did have money, which of course you had like $10,000, but you just squandered that $10,000 in a span of 2 weeks or even less. Because like I said earlier, you're more fiscally irresponsible than Rev. Hell, you're more fiscally irresponsible than Shani and Rev, who had squandered over $700K in a span of 2 years. I honestly don't understand how anyone like you could ever truly exist But then again, there are people that are far worse than you. There are a lot of people worse than you. But you, Adrazia, you're pretty much the worst out of all of them. You're the bottom of the barrel.
It took 20 years, but I finally figured it out. Here I go. No, I'm sorry. I know you think I'm talking down to you and being patronizing, but that's not going to happen.
You were talking down to people and you were patronizing them. I mean, again, how is it possible for someone like you to even think of this? To even think stupid shit like this? How is it possible for someone this callous, this detrimental, this deplorable could even function, could even live among us? Stuck up, acts like a spoiled brat, cares about nobody but herself.
Ever, honey, ever. You cannot browbeat people who are unable or unwilling to work into working.
You browbeat people who do work. Not long ago, you pretty much were browbeating people who actually do have jobs. So again, you're not one to talk. The level of hypocrisy is off the charts with this one.
Period. What you can do is support them.
No.
And help them.
No,
to
Debatman, there isn't.
Comfortable.
No, Debatman. Adrazia is never happy. Every time someone does absolutely something nice for her, she always finds a way to complain about it. She always finds a way to make a video complaining about it. Hell, there was one time when someone, I think it was Blissy, someone named Blissy, who offered to buy her French fries. And she said, "Oh, I can't eat French fries. I have a gluten intolerance." I mean, are you fucking kidding me? That girl, Blissy, was offering you to buy you something to eat. And you just said that you're allergic to gluten. I mean, again, how fucking ungrateful do you have to be to even make up an excuse like that? All because you didn't like what people say, or you didn't like when people are trying to be kind to you? You know, Blissy didn't have to offer an olive branch to you. She would have just left you there to rot. And you decide to blame everything on her because you think you're justified in your so-called perpetual victimhood? Miss me with that shit.
So that maybe they can figure out a way to support themselves. But when you're living in a gutter and everything sucks and everybody's telling you you suck and there's no hope, then there's no hope. I've been there. I'm still kind of there mentally. It's why I don't really have a home that's furnished as a home.
Or maybe you're too lazy to even put in the efforts to even decorate. Maybe you're too lazy to even remodel or even make things to your liking.
It doesn't just go away, and it takes a long time to be functional. And this is all falling on deaf ears, so I don't know what's the point, you know?
Dude, everything I say fall. Actually, no, not everything I say. Actually, no. No. It is falling on deaf ears because, again, you're pretty much repeating the same things over and over again. And everybody is tired of hearing you complain about how hard you have it. You complain all the time about how your life is hard when you don't even know the meaning of true pain. Like I said, you are ungrateful.
It's the hypocrisy in this family that really gets to me. The fact that everybody is so fine with singling me
Yes,
out
the
and
Batman. She
pointing
was the
that
one who
they
stole.
have absolutely no.
Yes, the Batman. She was the girl that stole a Capri Sun from a homeless man. Yeah. Well, she was pretending to be homeless one time because the homeless man saw that she was crying and thought that she was homeless as well, and he gave her a Capri Sun. She said she didn't drink it, but that was a lie. We all know that Adrazia does this shit all the time. And if you've watched Mayo Part 3, you probably would have heard Adonis Paul mention that Adrazia goes through these phases where she will pretend to believe in what random trolls tell her. Because, again, Adrazia has never done anything for herself for her entire life. From her Section 8 housing to her free Medicare and therapy, she has never worked for anything that she's been given. And you could see this sort of thing translate to her online behavior, where she is seen complaining about how, oh, she is suffering, she can't afford to buy weed, or she can't even afford to buy alcohol, or she's complaining or screaming that bullies on the internet are trying to get her to commit suicide. I have no empathy for this dumb bitch because she is incapable of showing empathy in return. So why should anyone feel any empathy for her?
No awareness that they're doing it or that it's wrong. Everything
It
I
is
do,
gloomy.
everything I say, everything I feel, they will pick apart and hurt me for.
No, you do
For
that to yourself,
instance,
dumb bitch.
one of the things Kathy is angry about is just after my grandmother passed away, I posted something. I don't even know what I posted.
There are screenshots. Have been screenshots that me and that reality check and I showed on a stream I did when I invited reality check to be a guest on one of my shows. She showed me a few screenshots from Mary's Facebook page about how she was living it up after receiving $10,000 following her grandmother's passing. And not to mention that she even linked me to a page on Zillow about how much the property, the land where the condo used to be was worth, how much it was worth.
But she got angry, saying, "Well, the rest of us were grieving your grandmother while you were doing this." And then just after my mother passed away.
A lot of people have been, well, Reality Check is under the assumption that Adrazia may have had a hand in her grandmother's death. I'm not saying that that's exact, but maybe there was exactly. And I like what Man with a Porpoise is putting out. And honestly, anything other viewpoints about the belief that and will not consider change when evidence challenges the delusion. Content of the delusion is impossible to, or implausible. The delusion impacts the person's daily life. There is more than one would think. This is more common. This is more common than you can think, especially nowadays, as it is being nurtured and promoted by social media. The person suffering this may think that the world is watching them and they are more important than they really are. That their work or deeds are more profound and impactful than what they are in reality. Man with a Porpoise. You couldn't have said it better.
What was Kathy doing? Posting videos of her toilet. Now, I don't know what I was doing.
You posted videos of your toilet, which was covered in shit, which was filled with your own shit. And you were complaining about how it didn't flush. But then you went on to say that you had a tampon in the toilet, which, again, you're not supposed to flush a fucking tampon down the toilet. You're supposed to throw it away, you dumb, ugly bitch. And I shouldn't be saying mean shit about her looks, but again, she is completely transparent. And like what Aunt Kathy said, you're not crazy. You're just dumb.
I don't remember what I was doing that made Kathy so upset just after my grandmother passed away. But I know I wasn't posting photographs and videos of my toilet.
Yes. Stop lying, Mary. There is a vid. I'm not going to show that video because it's extremely disgusting, and I don't want people to lose their appetites over it. But there was a video where you were filming yourself crying over the fact that you cannot even flush your own bodily waste down the fucking toilet because you had a fucking tampon clogging the drain. So again,
So,
no.
just after Kathy's younger sister passes away, literally the day after. Like, my mom passed away on the 1st, Kathy posted those videos on the 2nd.
And you see why I've complained, why I think Adrazia is far worse than Shani. Not long ago, Shani's mother, Betty, passed away. And already she was using her death as a way to garner sympathy, all because she thinks that if she plays the part of a grieving daughter, people will give her money. Now, knowing that and Shani has said a lot of hateful things towards her mother when Betty was still alive. But even Shani can put on the facade of someone who is in mourning. Perhaps maybe she was in mourning. Perhaps maybe she was in mourning, but we'll never know. Since she did the same thing when her dad passed away last year. But she pretty much exacerbated the behavior. She exasperated her behavior. Adrasia, on the other hand, felt no emotion when her mother passed away not long ago. Hell, she was pretty much talking shit about her dead mother days after she passed away.
So the day after her baby sister passes away, she's posting videos to YouTube of her toilet bowl. But then she's going to judge me for maybe going to have a drink or something after my grandmother passed away. Really think about that. Just
again, there's a theory. Keep in mind that this is just a theory. Maybe, like I said, this is just a theory. Maybe Adrasia's grandmother didn't fall down the stairs. Perhaps she was probably pushed down the stairs. And the only person in that condo was Mary and someone else that she was hanging out with. But this may be plausible and somewhat impossible. But what if Adrasia had a hand in her grandmother's death?
how disturbing does it get? You know? How messed up does it have to be before people will look at this and say, that's fucked up?
Well, it is fucked up.
What the hell is happening in this family? Your younger sister died, and the only thing you have to think about is cleaning your toilet.
At least Aunt Kathy has a clean toilet, unlike you. At least Aunt Kathy can afford cleaning supplies. But again, you're one to talk. You complained that you didn't have a plunger when you were filming your own feces clogging the toilet. Again, I'm not going to play that, and I'm not going to show it on here because, again, even though I only have one audience member, someone is going to look at this and they're going to be disgusted. And yes, it's early. It's Saturday. It's a Saturday afternoon. It is a Saturday afternoon, and again, not many people are going to be tuning in. So, what's the point? I mean, the only times when I get more viewers are usually late at night, possibly at around 10 p.m., when everyone is done doing their streams. Well, and that's usually on nights when Adonis Paul doesn't do his late night shows. Because again, I share the same subscriber count as everyone else. And most of the times, I'm not usually that much entertaining at times, but when I am, it's very rare. Most of the times I'm criticizing.
See, I haven't even watched those videos. I don't know what she's talking about with her toilet bowl.
Of course you don't watch Aunt Kathy's videos. Because if you ever watch Aunt Kathy's videos, you'll immediately start screaming and crying each time your name is brought up because you don't like it when Aunt Kathy is right. You're more comfortable with being completely ignorant and living this fantasy that you're always a perpetual victim.
I've seen that they exist. I won't watch them. I know.
No,
I've
you
also
don't.
been told.
And besides, I'm pretty sure that that video is probably deleted, because I'm pretty sure that that video is no longer on YouTube. Even if there was like an archived version, it's gone.
That my sisters have done interviews. I won't watch them. The week that my mother passed away, my sisters were doing interviews.
Well, the reason why they were doing interviews is because, again, they know the type of person you really are. They know that you're nothing more than a pathological liar. And they just want to get your sister's side of the story because she lived with you up until the day you decided to run away to Los Angeles, so to be homeless. And you abandoned your little brother who had cerebral palsy, and you left him to die, just as you left your mother to die too. So again, at the end of the day, Adrastic, you are your own worst enemy.
But I'm the one who apparently doesn't know how to deal with death.
She has probably only a few simps. She's only had a few simps in the past, but most of them are just simping for her just to get late, just so that they can get in her pants. Most of those people who were simping for her were only there to get in her pants. And other people who simp for her are just because they're too lazy to even take care of themselves or even make a proper YouTube video. There was this one guy that had like a rape kit that he travels around America with. And of course, there's James Robert Clark. And the only reason why he's simping for Adrastia is because he hates Adonis Paul and Royce Lopez. That's one of the only reasons why he is simping for Adrastia, is because, again, Adonis Paul and Royce Lopez were making fun of him because of his obsession with Eliana and his delusions of grandeur. Because he's just about as delusional as Adrastia is. Except he doesn't complain about how trolls are making him want to commit die. No, instead, he continues on with this delusion that he will finally breed with Eliana, because that's basically what he's always wanting to talk about, is wanting to breed with people. You see what I'm getting at? And yes, she does have subscribers. I mean, you probably meant subscribers, DeBatman. She does have 871 subscribers, which is an injustice because, again, why would people subscribe to this person? And for those of you who are genuine subscribers and not people who hate sub, for those of you who actually do find who do like Adrastia's content and are not just using it for reactions and making fun of, I just have to ask you this question. Why? What is so appealing about Adrastia? What entertainment can you find from her? I mean, she's not talented. She doesn't have any skill. All she does is just play shitty emulator games badly. She sucks at singing, and all she does is complain about how everybody wants her to commit suicide. And even if it's not people wanting her to commit suicide, she complains about committing suicide over trivial things, such as not being able to use the bathroom at 3 a.m. or having or taking a shower during lockdown.
Just
Good for you.
Kathy was talking about, well, just after we buried my mother, this is what we were doing.
They
You know
buried
what
her.
they were doing?
No. You weren't a part of that. They buried your mother. You didn't even attend your mother's funeral because you decided in your best interest that you'd sever all your ties with your family because in your little myopic brain, they're the root of all evil. They're the source of your problems. Like I said, in actuality, you are your own worst enemy.
Doing the day they buried her mother. The same day, right? Funeral. They all went directly from the funeral to the condo where my grandmother lived and just started taking things. Just knowing that I was still living there. They just started taking things. Just whatever they
Probably because the reason why they took things from that condo is because, again, it was never yours to begin with. It was in their will. Your name wasn't in the will. They just gave you $10,000 and told you to figure it out. And what did you do? Instead of using that money to buy a lawyer to, I don't know, put that money in a savings or open up like a private account or a trust, you decided to go on a spending spree because, yeah, materialistic wealth is more important than actually saving up for your future or even saving up for a house or a car or even a retirement plan. Like I said, you're more fiscally irresponsible with money than Rev and Shani were. And you wasted $10,000 in a matter of weeks, not years, not months, weeks.
They took the shampoo and conditioner. That's my family. It's because I didn't have a shotgun to stand out front and protect it like the rest of the family.
Again, like the stream, guys, or like the stream. Share this shit around with your friends. Share this stream around with your friends and let everyone know that we got this thing going. Because again, I am looking to get 500 subscribers probably before summer, before the beginning of summer. And it would mean a lot to me if you share my content around with your buddies. Anyone can be welcome in the chat, except for Russian bots. That shit came fuck right off.
See, I believe in the 80s, Meemaw told me about this one. One of her brothers passed away. Maybe her brother. She had a lot of siblings, but one of them passed away. No will. After the funeral, the whole family raced to get to this member's home to take what they wanted. The family that got there first stood on the porch with a shotgun, while the other family members went through and got what they wanted, holding off the rest of the rabid loved ones who were just dying to get into that house and take what they wanted. See, when Meemaw passed away, there was nobody to stand around with a shotgun.
Yeah, it is never going to happen. You're right to that, man. It's never going to happen. I mean, no one's going to watch my shit. So why do I fucking bother? Well, actually, the only time people do watch my content is when I'm streaming late at night and there's nothing going on. But again, who knows? Maybe it might happen, maybe it might not. You just never know. If I continue to make videos or streams, I can get to 500 quicker than that. But then again, do you really think people are going to watch me complain about stupid people all the time with shitty audio quality?
Kathy and her children went in and just took what they wanted.
But then again, most of those people are just roasting me. I mean, it's fine if you just say shit like that. I mean, I can take it.
Dolls, clothes, shampoo, food.
And I know that was a joke to
Anything
Batman.
that wasn't nailed down. They even took the vehicle that was supposed to be mine, the Jeep. Kathy laughed at me and said, well, you could never afford the insurance anyway.
Well, she's not wrong. Like I said, they gave you $10,000 and told you to figure it out. But instead, you just wasted all that money on frivolous shit, materialistic shit. So yeah, you couldn't afford the insurance on that fucking Jeep.
Funny, the next day
I know,
they
the
came with a
Batman.
$10,000
I
check.
know. Thank you, the Batman. I mean,
For me, I couldn't afford the insurance.
hopefully I'll get to 500, but it'll take some time and a lot of effort and patience. And maybe I have to watch some YouTube tutorials on how to improve my content to get there. But who knows?
Guess not.
But I'm just trying to experiment on some stuff.
And this is all completely normal.
At least I don't have to buy subscribers like some people. At least I'm not buying subscribers like some people. I'm looking at you, Trisha, and you, Tragic.
You know, because it's my family and this is how they have always been. Anything they do is seen as perfectly fine and normal and acceptable. Anything I do is seen as garbage.
Well, then again, actually, they're not wrong, Mary. Anything you do is considered garbage because, well, you have alienated almost everyone that has tried to help you. People who have donated money to you, you've talked shit about them. Hell, even Adonis Paul tried giving you money, and you pretty much just declined his offer on Christmas. Dude, Adonis Paul gave you money for Christmas. He donated money to your PayPal because it was Christmas time, and Christmas was a time of giving. Hell, even Mersh decided to chime in. And what did you do? You pretty much shat on his generous offer because you have this hate boner for Adonis Paul. Yeah, because having a hate boner for someone who pretty much just points out all the fallacies in your story is more important than actually having money so that you can buy weed or alcohol. Yeah. And you wonder why nobody likes you, Mary?
And bad and needs to be judged. One day, things are going to change.
Who says I'm sober? Who says I'm sober, to Batman? I'm on Adderall. I've been taking Adderall and Zoloft to tolerate this type of shit. So who says I'm sober? I usually take stimulants to put up with this type of shit. Yes, that's how bad this is. I have to take stimulants.
And I know I might not be alive to see it, but one day somebody is going to find this video, this channel, and they're going to see that I have been telling the truth.
No, you weren't, Mary.
And Kathy is the one that's going to have to answer some questions.
Delusions of grandeur. To quote Man with a Porpoise, delusions of grandeur, all four main characteristics. The person having the belief believes it to be true, even when existing norms and other people know it to be not true. Person having the delusion will not listen to any other viewpoints about the belief and will not consider change when evidence challenges the delusion. The content of the delusion is impossible or implausible. The delusion impacts the person's daily life. This is more common than one would think, especially nowadays as it is being nurtured and promoted by social media. The person suffering this may think the world is watching them and they are more important than they really are. That their work or deeds are profound and impactful than what they are in reality. She is extremely delusional. And now, let's see what she says about people lashing out at her. Then again, I take stimulants for my ADD. I take Adderall for my ADD because again, I have a short attention span, and I get fatigue, and I get symptoms, and I feel symptoms of fatigue, probably due to late night, probably due to me burning the midnight oil, spending doing all nighters, just watching YouTube videos.
My little sister is lashing out. It's okay. I'm not angry. I'm not upset with it at all. This is just to acknowledge that I've seen the comments so that she won't get upset to think that I'm just not seeing it.
But then again, I also have anxiety issues. I have extreme anxiety issues. So I take Zoloft for my anxiety because I also have clinical depression. So yeah, I also have insomnia. So I take like sleep aids for insomnia.
I'm seeing them. I blocked you. I know you'll make another account. It doesn't matter. I am not the one that you're angry at. I know you have a lot of anger. It's eating you up. But I'm not the one that's the cause of it. I'm just the one that you were raised to blame. It's not my fault. It wasn't my fault then.
Yes, Mary. Mary, take a seat. What you said was absolute bullshit. You falsely accused your father of molesting you when you know goddamn well that that never happened. And you're trying to gaslight your sister into believing your fucking story because there's nobody left to validate your perpetual victimhood. I mean, how delusional are you to think that you can earn someone's trust, knowing that they have seen your behavior firsthand? Dude. You tried to extort your mother into validating your perpetual victimhood, and that didn't work. You extorted your mother in exchange for a kidney. Then you tried to extort Aunt Kathy to validate your so-called victimhood, and you threatened to have your mother thrown in jail because she wouldn't even consider telling your side of the story. And you tried going on acting as if you're the only victim here. No, you're not. Your family is the real victim in your treachery. And you tried to paint yourself as an innocent person who has been abused constantly. You're the oldest, middle, and youngest. No one cares. Exactly. You're nothing but trouble and heartache. I wish there was a way that they could just disown you formally and never hear from you again. And fuck you, James Clark. Fuck you. Stop simping for this dumb bitch. The only reason why you decided to support Adraz is because you have been called out for being a complete creep and a potential predator. And now people are targeting you and leaving hateful comments under your videos because you have these warped beliefs. And you are extremely delusional, sir. So shut the fuck up, James Robert Clark III. You're a creep. Again, I could do another stream on James Robert Clark III, but I don't want to kill my brain cells. He is complete. He's a complete asshole.
Everybody in that house needed somebody to put the blame on for it all. And it became me. That doesn't mean that it was actually my fault. You're in my comments saying, well, you...
Oh, you want to see the guy that's been simping for her? I'd like you to meet this asshole. James Robert Clark III. I'm going to get off this video and I'm going to show you the type of person that James Clark is. And what better way to show James than to take a look at his Well, I can't take a look at his community tab since he's pretty much.
So people
This is the type of person that's simping for Adrasia right now. This fucker.
might have guessed, I'm not a big fan of psychometric testing, and I don't really think it's a real, like, an accurate thing, okay? However, like personality testing, Myers-Briggs type stuff, blah, 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 blah. The only real psychometric testing, I think, is somewhat.
Maybe this is not the best video to look at. Nope. We're going to go back to his oldest shit. I'm not looking at his views on politics. No. Absolutely not. Because politics don't matter to me when it comes to this type of shit. No. I'm going to look at the videos where he was simping for a girl named Eliana who was the subject of his infatuation. This is going to take a while, but again, this guy has been known to be a stalker of a girl named Eliana, whom he had been infatuated for almost 6 years. 6 fucking years. So, let's just take a look. I think most of the videos that on Eliana have been deleted. Or at least he's trying to cover his tracks. Because again, not this one.
So I'm making this video to reach out to the other people that have been harmed by daywave radio, nightwave radio, and the whole Revenge of the Cis nonsense company. And what I need is the physical address of Revenge of the Cis. If you can help me out, I'm going to do my utmost to hold them legally responsible for turning the public against me and defaming my character. Now, I highly encourage this. I don't know what the outcome will be, but it seems pretty positive from what my friends that are in law and what the police have told me. It seems like it's going to be a pretty positive result, but I need a physical address. I've only found the physical address of their shop in California, which is not them. It's the shop that makes their nonsense, their collectibles, whatever you call them. But what I do want to say is I want to say something to the daywave radio idiots, particularly Royce Lopez. I think what happened, number one, I want to explain this. With Eliana, I understand that what we had was basically just a misunderstanding. It was a misunderstanding that happened due to a breakdown in communication. And I tried to keep open the lines of communication so you could clarify it, and you just didn't clarify it. And that's, that's cool. I'm a little sad that you reached out to these idiots instead of me to clarify it, because they didn't clarify it. What essentially happened is they turned what was...
Yeah, he's trying to gaslight, saying that Eliana was being brainwashed by the guys at Daywave Radio because, well, this guy's been stalking this girl, Eliana, for almost 6 years. And I could play this video, but again, that'd be... No, he's simping for her because he shares a mutual hatred for Adonis Paul. He has this hate boner for Adonis Paul and Daywave Radio. That's why he's simping for Adrazia, is because he has a hate boner for Daywave and Adonis Paul.
I want to be very clear to someone to whom this should concern quite greatly. Look, they're hiding behind you like cowards, and they are cowards, okay? The facts are the facts. I've contacted the state police to clear up what is a false criminal record. There were mistakes made by the police at various levels. Okay, I called my brother. Okay,
This motherfucker wants to breed. That's why, if you go into Adonis Paul's Discord server, there's a channel that says James Clark must breed, and it's basically a play on words of one of his comments about a girl that he got that someone posing as a girl. When someone posed as he was describing this girl named Galena, who turned out to be a bunch of trolls catfishing him. Yes, this fucker got catfished by people who pretty much despise him. And he was under the belief that Sir Hatman was posing as Galena, to catfish him, to keep him off Eliana's trail, to prevent him from obsessing over Eliana. So they made a fake girl who would talk to James. And yeah, the rest was history. Anyway, when he found out that Galena was an absolute troll, he started going back to obsessing over Eliana.
Going to clear this up. Yesterday, someone on that show, Royce, I think his name was, and Royce Lopez. What kind of name is Royce for a Hispanic? Tried to get me to determine that you're a bad person. It's not going to happen. That's all. You are a vile, evil, terrible person, Eliana. Okay? You're not going to succeed with what you plan on succeeding with, because the facts are the facts. The only reason I continue to make content with you involved in it is because they continually purposely aggravate me and use you to aggravate me. Okay? I don't expect you to believe a single word that I say, because the things that my brother has done are enough to make anyone think I'm a monster. My criminal record was taken out of context. Now, some of the things on my criminal record may have been, see, this was the problem, is I have a brother who has the same initials as me. His name is Joseph Regis Clark. Okay? And I'm not doing this so I can come down. I'm not coming down. Okay? I will be coming down to Argentina. And I will be making videos about when I'm leaving. And I will be making videos about when I'm arriving, if they think I did those things. But I'm not a monster. And I can actually tell you the harassment charge in 2007, and some of these, this might explain why I might have some charges on there that I don't know of. I also don't think that's my criminal record. Eliana simply asks me, James, take all this down. I will take it down. See, I don't believe that they had Eliana on the phone this morning. I believe what they did is they had talked to Eliana, and I think Royce has a hard-on for Eliana, and he can't get it to go down. So he has to try and defame me and White Knight. He thinks he's...
Royce Lopez is Hispanic. He's a quarter Cuban. And sorry if you didn't hear my voice. I mean, this thing was a bit wonky. I'm using an adapter. I'm using a plug for recording. I was like, oh shit. That's why I'm getting poor reception. That's why I'm yelling. I'm like, anyway, I'm gonna end up deleting this later on because again, I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. I forgot. I'm not muted. It's just my microphone was unplugged. Probably because the USB drive usually doesn't recognize when my microphone is on and off. I forgot. So yeah, you're probably hearing muffled sounds. And I'm sorry. Anyway, let's continue on.
White Knighting, you are going to get her angry, and I will tell you this. I don't know what she told you, but I do know this. She does care about me. So be careful how you tread with me, buddy.
Eliana went on Daywave to tell Royce Lopez and JJ Stoner, the hosts of Daywave Radio, that she found James to be creepy and she wants him to leave her the fuck alone. Hell, she hates James. Eliana actually does hate James. No one was forcing her to hate him. She naturally hates him because again, he was a creepy stalker and he is extremely obsessed with her. He's been obsessed with her for almost 6 fucking years, as I said. So yeah, I mean, he has had these outlandish beliefs about white nationalism, and he pretty much has this he subscribes to alt-right ideologies. So yeah.
Okay, you aren't getting any Eliana anyway. I can promise you that. Okay, and I can guarantee you that what I had with Eliana in the past is more than you'll ever have with Eliana in the present or the future, you fat freaking slob.
You're one to talk. I mean, look at you. You look like you haven't exercised in over a long time, James.
Let's see here.
And I gotta commend Royce Lopez for pretty much laughing at how stupid this guy really is.
Let's see here. All right.
You mean a way to get the actual story?
Yeah, hold on. Hold on.
Who's that?
Who's that? Hi, Eliana. How are you?
Hi, how are you guys?
We are doing fantastic. Hey, thank you for coming on so we can finally clear this up.
We can finally clear this up. I have been waiting for this moment, actually.
I am really...
So,
Hey, Eliana. I just wanted to let you know. I took down the baby pictures on Instagram. I wasn't thinking straight. You have to understand, and I'm not trying to be mean when I say this. What happened was that was during that Daywave radio when they were attacking me and saying that you stated that you did not have a child and that we only spoke two times on Facebook. Okay? That really offended me because you know otherwise. And I will leave our conversations up unless you tell me to take them down. I have to have something showing that I'm not lying. I don't know what to tell.
I'm sorry, folks. My mic was unplugged. I'm sorry. My mic was unplugged. Again, like this stream, guys. Like this fucking stream. Like this stream. And share it with your friends if you have to. Again, it means so much to me. It means the world to me if you support me. If you like show your support to me. I mean, like the stream, share it, and subscribe if you have to. Sorry for the
Tell you anymore. Unfortunately,
it's a deep fake, by the way. They basically deep faked James's face on Joker 2019.
people don't seem to understand this. I did not get my money back for my plane ticket. Okay. I didn't get the money back.
It's funny and cringy at the same time.
Exactly for another trip that is exactly like the trip I had planned to Argentina. And as I said previously, when I planned that trip because I thought you were in trouble. And that's why I planned that trip, was to come help you. And honestly, if you trust people like Royce Lopez and his little buddies over me.
Royce Lopez has more credibility than this fucker did. I can test that. I mean, there are people that Royce has helped. There are people that Royce and JJ have helped over the years. People who were down on their luck. People more deserving of the help than this asshole. Than this fucker. People who are more deserving of the help than this fucker. Than even fucking Adrastia. And again, you have to understand how deplorable these fuckheads are. The people that they cover, the people that they laugh at. I mean, you obviously have to be somewhat of a piece of shit to be on the radar of Royce Lopez, JJ Stoner, Adonis Paul, and Mersh. You have to be a fuckhead like fucking James to be on the radar of Daywave, Nightwave, and Adonis Paul.
You kind of got what you deserved. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm really not, but you kind of got what you deserved. I didn't mean to go nuclear like that. If you really watch my videos, you will see consistently that more or less, except for when they got me to lose it. But you have to understand, this is months of this crap.
No, I think we've had enough of your jokes.
What do you get?
Yeah, I just had to show that because again, James is a creepy motherfucker. James is the type of person that you'll read about in a headline when he does something extremely dramatic. And even then, I wouldn't be laughing anymore. You can catch him. I'll link Adonis Paul's channel in the description. You have to watch his late night shows. They're fucking hilarious. even though they don't apply to your ideologies, they're fucking amazing. I've laughed so much at the Adonis Paul late night shit. And here's a link to his late night shows. Here's a link to his channel if you want to check that shit out, the Batman. I mean, it's funny. Alternatively, if you want to learn more about these crazy people that AP talks about, people like Adrasdia, people like James, here's his main channel, which hasn't been in use since Adrasdia flagged it. For cyberbullying. And he makes amazing animations. I mean, he makes a lot of great animations that you will love. Well, even though they're cheap, and you can find, and it's the type of shit you'd see on Newgrounds back in 2003. But at least he provides context and humor to some of the jokes. It's like that cheap, edgy shit that you would find during like the 2017 YouTube days, when it was during the days of internet bloodsport. It's basically the edgy shit you'd see on like 2017 YouTube, back when people were laughing at social justice warriors and special snowflakes.
You never cared about Mom.
You never cared about Mom either, Mary.
She never cared about me.
Well, you didn't. Well, again, you were basically lying about her. You were pretty much trying to get your mother arrested for what? For by association of your made up abuse. You tried to have your mother arrested because, again, you were associating her with the fictitious amalgamation of your father and Kenneth McBride. Because in your warped delusions, in your little myopic brain, you basically took all the aspects of Kenneth McBride and you pretty much spliced them with your father's image. And your mother, and again, once again, those were not your stories. Those were not your stories. They were someone else's stories that you stole. Hell, even your Aunt Kathy has confirmed that you like to insert yourself in the books that you used to read when you were a child.
Let's just be honest. She was your mother, not mine. We all know that family was divided up. Meemaw was my mother.
And here we go.
Mom was your mother. And our grandparents, that was Jennifer's, wasn't it? And poor little Ronnie, he just had to stay there all the time, didn't he?
Well, you pretty much abandoned Ronnie. You abandoned your little brother just so that you can hook up with a child molester and just so you can hook up with a pedophile and a child molester who murdered his fiancée of 10 years.
Our mother did not care about me. It has nothing to do with whether or not I cared about her.
You didn't?
Communication goes both ways.
And you could tell that she doesn't even feel any sadness or sorrow for her mother's passing. Like I said before, even Shanny put on a show pretending to be a grieving daughter. This bitch right here shows absolutely no empathy or even the slightest of emotions. She is look at those dead soulless eyes of hers. I wouldn't even consider Adrazia a person. As a matter of fact, I consider her a soulless corpse. Because she doesn't even look alive.
She didn't reach out to me any more than I reached out to her. Even as a child. Y'all understand that I was gone for months at a time with no contact. Yes, it's normal for kids to go and spend time with their grandparents or go to summer camp. But normally, there's communication between the child and the parents.
I'm not going to watch this shit. Because again, this part is where it goes into full detail on the type of person Adrazia can really be. And this one was when people were calling her out, pointing out the fact that, yeah.
I'm going to make this video once. And only because I am being bombarded with emails telling me that I killed my mother. And that's why my family hates me and is never going to forgive me. It's my fault. Because I wanted the truth so badly. It's my fault that she died because I didn't give her a kidney. It's my fault. No. No. No, thank you. My mother drank heavily from the age of 13. She did hard drugs. She carried 4 children, many of which were traumatic births because I was born in a car and my little brother was beaten nearly to death in her womb before being born. Her body suffered a lot of damage from the abuse that she and her husband put her through.
Now you see, Mary, this is why nobody cares about you. This is why nobody likes you. You say this shit about your dead mother. You're speaking ill of the dead as we speak. And you're trying to justify the fact that you obviously have no morals. You obviously have no empathy for anyone. So again, why should we show any empathy for you? When you say stupid shit like this, when you say disgusting shit like this, you lose all sense. You lose all. You lose. You don't deserve sympathy. So again, because you can't show sympathy, you can't feel any sympathy for anyone, not even yourself. Like I said, you're a soulless corpse. An evil ghoul.
You do not get to drink heavily for 40 years and then blame your child for your liver failure.
Exactly.
Because they're not willing to give you part of their liver. It is.
And now she's blaming her own mother for her. Now she's pretty much saying that her mother committed suicide by drinking excessively. I mean, what kind of person says that shit about their dead mother just after her mother passed away? she still continues to speak ill of the dead. And my mic went off. I think that'll work. All right. Yeah, Mary, no one's going to feel any sympathy for you because you believe in your little fantasy world that you're the victim. You're the only victim in this world. There are people who are actually suffering far worse than you will ever, than you would in your little imagination. And you're upset because, again, you still think that somehow your dead parents are responsible for how you turned out, when in actuality, you're the one who decided to run away to LA. You're the one who decided to abandon your family to shack up with a pedophile named Steven, whom you married, and then you decided to drive him to his 16-year-old girlfriend's house for quote unquote emotional support. And when that marriage ended, you decided to hook up with a convicted child predator named Kenneth McBride, who had a fiance of 10 years named Roberta Laws, who had cerebral palsy, the same illness that your brother Ronnie had. And you were pretty much sleeping with Kenneth behind Roberta's back while pretending to be her friend and caregiver. And then after that, and on the eve of your birthday, and the days leading up to your birthday, you had sent emails to Kenneth demanding him to quote unquote get rid of Roberta. And on your birthday, you two were arguing in the car about the need to remove Laws out of his life. And then he said that he was just, and then he just went on and said, fine. And then he just decided right then on there to kill her. And you absolutely said nothing. You didn't even protest the decision. And you just waited idly by while he strangled the life out of the woman he loved for 10 years. And you went with him to purchase a shovel at Walmart to bury her body and waited 5 weeks to go to the police with this information.
Absolutely not my fault. Nobody owes a body part to another human being.
Yes, they do.
Nobody owes their parents or their cousins or their sisters a kidney or a liver. That's not something that you owe. And saying, well, your mother gave you life, okay? That means I'm supposed to give her one of my organs even though she doesn't care about me? No, thank you.
Wow, Mary. You have proved to us that you cannot feel, you have proven constantly that you are beyond redemption.
Had she spent any time with me and spoken to me, I would have gladly given her an organ simply because she is family.
So in your mind, your family is dead to you? Well, the feeling is mutual. You stopped being part of that family when you decided to, I don't know, abandon your disabled brother to hook up with not one, but 2 child predators. And then you helped one bury his fiance, and you helped the other one bury the fiance that he murdered. And then you decide to flee to Los Angeles just to be homeless and mooch off the government so that you can get free weed.
And I would have been able to. They chose not to go that route. That's not my fault. I'm tired of being told that everything is my fault. The woman drank heavily at 13 years old. I wasn't even born when she started damaging her liver. Do not come at me and tell me it's my fault she's dead because I didn't let them cut open me and give her a part of my body that she would then go ahead and destroy because she was not going to stop drinking. Don't tell me that woman was ever going to stop drinking. She wasn't.
Once again, she speaks ill of the dead. And we're expected to feel sorry for her? Like I said, even Shani decided to play the part of a grieving daughter just days after her mother recently passed away. And she made a live stream crying about it. Even though, despite having a history of talking bad about her mother, saying that she wishes for her to die and wanted her head on a platter. Hell, she even said that she hoped that Joe, her dad, her stepdad, died of COVID. And last year, Shani's stepdad passed away. And she made an entire stream crying, screaming, "Daddy!" And she pretty much blamed the trolls for killing him. And now she has made several streams crying about her mother. And this bitch here, this evil, heartless monster, has the utter gall to talk bad about her deceased mother. She didn't even shed a tear when she heard the news.
I saw her drunk off of rubbing alcohol once.
Yeah, she
And
does.
you're going to tell me it's my fault because I have organs that are perfectly healthy that I didn't destroy.
Except for your reproductive organs. Well, actually, I wouldn't go that far, Mary. You destroyed your reproductive organs when you started abusing morphine pills. So again, you claim to have healthy organs when you admitted in a few videos a while back why you can't have kids is because you're barren due to the morphine abuse. So, yeah, I wouldn't go as far as saying that you have healthy organs.
So obviously I'm indebted to my mother to give them to her. There you go. Go ahead. Fuck this one up. Why not? You only had children so that they could give you organs, right? You only had children so that they could get jobs and take care of you later, right? That's the only reason you had us.
And this is a message to anyone who ever lives to have kids. Some of them, even if you plan to have kids, they probably might end up hating you when they're older. Not all of them, just some of them. If you raise them to be entitled brats like this dumb bitch, they'll hate you when they're older.
Is that the mindset here? Why are you having children to harvest their organs for your own gain to live longer? And I'm not saying that my mother is trying to do that or my family is trying to do that. I'm saying that the people that are commenting, that are sending me emails, that are trying to hurt me by making me feel guilty for my mother's death, are treating me like I was born specifically for organ harvesting. That is not the way families are supposed to work.
That's her hair.
If donating an organ would have helped anybody in this family live longer, I would have donated to my little brother, first off. But even with him, I do not feel like I owe him one of my internal organs. None of you should ever feel manipulated to the point that you feel like you owe somebody an internal organ. If you love somebody and you want to donate, that is wonderful and beautiful.
Mary, you could have saved your mother's life if you had given one of your kidneys. But you were too stubborn and too hateful to even bother. Because in your delusional world, you think that your family owes you I don't know what they owe you, because again, they don't owe you jack shit in reality, but you think that they owe you something if you do this generous thing for your mother, which you didn't, and you just left her to die. Not to mention, you threatened to have your mother thrown in jail for Aunt Kathy refusing to validate your perpetual victimhood. So again, you killed your mother by refusing to offer one of your organs. Just like how you killed your grandmother, and just like how you killed Roberta Laws. Actually, no, she didn't really kill Roberta. Even though she didn't really kill Roberta, and we don't know if she actually killed her grandmother. We're just saying that just to fuck with her. Because if you pay attention to Adrasdia's back a while back when people started learning about Adrasdia, people kept posting murderer or duck murderer in her comments. And she made a big stink about it by freaking out over the fact that, yeah, she was involved in the murder of a disabled woman with cerebral palsy. She was an accessory to a murder.
But if you're doing it out of sheer manipulation and gaslighting from people who don't actually care about you, do not let them cut you open. That is abuse on a horrible level. And unfortunately, it's my family, the way that they act.
And for those of you who are trying to get her to be homeless, stop it. It's not going to make things better. It's only going to make things worse for the people around her, because you're pretty much taking money out of their pockets. She does, however, deserve to be thrown in jail for perjury. Because, again, if they reopen the Roberta Laws case, they might find some incriminating evidence about the private emails that were sent to Kenneth.
So it's not surprising at all that I'm getting those kinds of comments or that they would think that way. It's so easy to blame the family member that's not around for all of the problems because they're not around to fight back.
Yeah. But you, Mary, you think that everyone owes you some form of contemplation. Like I said, no one owes you jack shit. And I will say that because, again, you have no empathy. You obviously have no empathy for anyone. Hell, you don't even have any empathy for yourself.
Okay.
I take it that she probably saw my video, probably has been seeing my videos because
I guess I could be a little bigger than that. Hold on. So what's about to happen is we're gonna look at some comments that have been left on my channel because I feel like a lot of people don't realize how hateful and cruel the comments I'm receiving are. And so I want to highlight them because it's important to me.
Why is it important
It's
to you?
It's important to me that people understand exactly what's happening to me. And I know I'm going to get the same response with their trolls.
Well, of course they're trolls because, again, this is a pattern that you go through. Is that like what Adonis Paul said in Mayo 3? Excuse me, I'm going to repeat myself. Adonis Paul said in Mayo 3 that you go through this phase where you'll pretend to believe in what random trolls tell you in your comments. And I could see that because, again, you are such a pitiful waste of human life that you'll strum up drama whenever you see fit.
They're just trolls. No, they're not. They're not. Trolls are mythical beings that live under bridges and harass you for gold.
That's the literal definition of a troll. She's using the same Aaron Carter method, saying trolls are mythical beings that harass you for gold. Not that type of troll. They're referring to internet trolls, you dumb. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to get into this because, again, the coercion.
People who are saying terrible things to me are real, living human beings.
Yes, she is surrounded by death.
Just because they create a fake account online does not mean that they're not real people. Does not mean that what they're saying isn't what they actually feel. They have created a fake account to be able to say what they feel without fear of people finding out who they are.
That's the definition of an internet troll. Need I sound slower for you, Adrasia, so that you don't rage quit on us? Is your brain functioning properly? Adrasia, I mean, come on, guys. Adrasia is so fucking brain dead. I'm surprised that she even attended special needs. I am surprised that she actually did attend. I'm surprised that she even was qualified or even qualified for special needs.
That does not mean that it's not how they feel or that it's not the truth. People use that as an excuse to victim blame. You'll look at somebody who has been harassed for months on end, and instead of understanding that that person has been through a lot of torment, you'll say, well, they're just trolls. You could have just ignored them. No, you can't, because words have meaning.
Not all the time, Mary. Yeah, you're right, coloring book. She does. She could be Eileen Wernos 2.0. Honestly, I honestly believe that if she wasn't this much of a lazy slob, I honestly believe that if she wasn't much of a lazy slob, she would have been the next Eileen Wernos. That's what I think.
Words have meaning. And the words that are being said to me are extremely disturbing.
More disturbing than when you threaten suicide on a daily basis over the most trivial things? You created this echo chamber of absolute hate. You're making mountains out of molehills. And you expect us to feel sorry for you? You expect people to pity you after what you have said to people? You have tried to ruin people's lives. You have tried flagging people's channels, disrupting their business, disrupting their income. You have been involved in sexual abuse, murder, and neglect. You have made videos, countless videos, dehumanizing your family, all because they didn't agree to they didn't give you what you want. And the only reason why you wanted to flee to the West Coast was because you get free money and free weed for doing absolutely nothing but exist. Not only that, you have leached off the government time and time again, expecting people to give you handouts for just simply existing. I honestly don't understand how any of this is okay for you. You have made enemies out of people who have tried to help you. You have tried to dehumanize your family, all because they saw you as because they saw the real you, and they basically experienced what you were prior to your internet presence. They saw who you were in real life, and they were appalled at the type of person, at the behavior that you exhibited towards your grandmother and towards your family, your Aunt Kathy. Hell, like what Cousin Sarah said. Remember the time when Cousin Sarah and Aunt Kathy went on Daywave Radio to clear up a few things about what type of person you were? I remember when they talked about when you threatened to when you would slit your wrist every time Mima didn't give you money to buy drugs. You were pretty much holding her, Cousin Sarah, and her children hostage. I mean, I don't know if that story is legitimate, but I would rather take Cousin Sarah or Aunt Kathy's word over yours any day, because to be fair, Mary, you're not a reliable source. You're not a reliable narrator. Everything you say is an absolute lie.
So a little bit of a backstory before I get into the comments, because a lot of them are going to be about the same thing. My mother and my organs. A lot of people are very angry that I didn't give my mother an organ to help her live longer. Me and my mother were not close. She was not my mother. If we're going to be fully honest, she didn't raise me. She didn't love me. She didn't care about me in any way, and neither do my sisters or anybody else in my family. I come from an extremely abusive family.
Of course, Adrastia. Everyone in your family has abused you in some way or form. Everyone is evil, and you're just an innocent victim who had to endure it all. Cry me a motherfucking river, Adrastia. There are people who have had it worse than you. But then you'd probably steal their story and pass it off as your own to earn victim points, because you have to be the biggest victim out there. You can't accept the fact that other people have suffered even far worse than you ever will in your little imaginary world. And by the way, the abuse that you felt wasn't real. As a matter of fact, most of the shit that you wrote in that poor excuse of a book, that poor excuse, I wouldn't even consider it a book, because books are longer than 12 pages. Even if you simplify it to the bare minimum, it'll come out as just a pamphlet. Hell, it wouldn't be worthy of being a pamphlet. It's just like a 12-page essay. And I would believe that you'd be fined or accused of plagiarism, because there are some scenarios that you have, I guess you could say, plagiarized from other people's work. I mean, example is, of course, Dave Pelzer's A Child Called It.
Generational abuse. They've been abused for so long they don't even realize what they're doing is abuse.
All right, 5 people are watching. Even though
my mother, by the time I was born, had already...
Once again, guys, like the stream, guys. like the stream. Share this shit around if you have to. Get everyone to take a look at this shit because, again, I've spent almost 3.5 hours just complaining, or actually 2.5 hours, complaining about how awful this monster of a woman is. And I keep forgetting, and I forgot that my microphone wasn't plugged in.
Already been an alcoholic for nearly a decade. She started drinking heavily when she was 13 years old.
Let's get those numbers up, folks.
13. She dropped out of school and started drinking with her father at 13.
And what about you, Mary? You flunked out of special
She
needs
married
school.
an extremely abusive man who beat her every night.
What about you, Mary? You flunked out of special needs. You flunked out of special needs school. Just so that you can hook up with a child predator. Just so that you can hook up with a chomo who had a 16-year-old girlfriend. Or actually, no, I wouldn't say 16 at the time. He had an underage girlfriend that you would drive him and you would drive him to her house for what you call emotional support. And after that marriage ended, you hooked up with a convicted child molester named Kenneth McBride with a disabled fiance of 10 years. And we all know how that went. You buried a potato. You buried her in her back. Well, you helped. Actually, no, I wouldn't say you buried her, but you helped bury Roberta in the backyard. Yes, I can. And I know I sound like I'm repeating myself, but again, so does she. So I'm fighting fire with fire.
He tried to kill a child that was inside of her. That child wound up being born with cerebral palsy. That was my little brother.
Once again, you've been proven wrong over time. Cerebral palsy doesn't happen after taking a few blows in the wound. Nope. It was genetic. Your brother's cerebral palsy didn't happen from years of being abused your brother's handicap didn't happen because your mother was being abused while she was pregnant with little Ronnie. No, it's genetic.
My mother continued drinking, continued doing hard drugs.
So did you.
She was a prostitute for a while.
So are you.
She took anything she can get her hands on.
So did you. You see what I'm getting at? You say that your mother did all this shit. And I say, you did this. Well, didn't you do this? Well, look who's talking. Didn't you do the same thing? I mean, let's not forget the fact that you put out an ad on Craigslist for guys to sleep with for weed money. Let's not forget the times when you slit your wrists until it bled. You sprayed your own blood from the times you used to slit your wrists whenever Mima didn't give you money to buy morphine pills because you were addicted. And let's not forget the fact that you were pretty much sucking dick for a dime bag. Yep. All the things that Adrazi accused her dead mother of doing, she also did the same thing as well. So again, she comes off as an extreme hypocrite when she said this shit. You may think I'm making this shit up, but I'm not. If you want the full story, you should talk with Aunt Kathy. I mean, she has more information on Mary's childhood than I would ever dream of. I mean, I'm only just an observer who I'm pretty much an observer. I really don't have any other information regarding this shit other than the stuff that I've seen from from the people who have talked with people who knew her IRL. If you don't believe me, there is a documentary, well, 3 documentaries made on her by a YouTuber that goes by the name of Adonis Paul. The first one is like 4 to 5 hours long, and it includes some of the videos that he collected, saved, and spliced together with instrumental tracks. It's a good watch, and I recommend it for those who want to know more about this woman. He also made 2 follow-up documentaries under the same name. The second one pretty much talks about her encounters with the hosts of Daywave Radio, Royce Lopez and JJ Stoner, as well as Adonis Paul of Late Night with Adonis Paul. And the third is pretty much leads to the current drama that is going on right now. That is still going on. He has said that he may never do another documentary unless Adrasia starts shit up again. And with this shit that's going on right now, her mother passing away, and her arguing over why she refused to even save her mother's life. Don't tell me that that's not worthy of a 4th installment. I mean, it could be noted that this would be utilized for like Mayo 4, The Wrath of Aunt Kathy. And yes, Mom.
After my father killed himself, she didn't stop drinking. It got worse. She would leave our brother in bed all day long so she could say, well, I only drink when he's in bed.
Fuck you.
I had to put her in jail once because she was so drunk that she hit my grandmother.
I think it was the other way around. But again, this sounds like projection. But then again, we weren't there when it happened. But the sister was. And I could tell that even the sister is tired of your bullshit. Based on how you tried to gaslight her into believing that she was brainwashed by Aunt Kathy and Adonis Paul and the fuck people and everyone else who pretty much hates your guts. Which they do. And they have and rightfully so. But then again, all the shit that's going on, all the shit that's happened to you, the Daywave, Adonis Paul, Hatman, Aunt Kathy, it's all under your name. whenever someone looks up your information, or whenever someone looks up your name or your YouTube handle, they're going to find the first thing that's going to pop up are Adonis Paul's documentaries on you, all 3 installments, as well as Hatman's video on you. So, yeah. Aside from your channel. But again, it's all this is your doing. Everything that has happened to you, everything that causes you to act like this, to say this stupid shit, it's your fault, Mary. All of this is your fault. And you can go and blame it on everyone else around. You can blame it on your mother. You can blame it on your dad. You can blame it on Aunt Kathy. But it's not going to make it even truer than what the other family members, people like Cousin Sarah, people like your sister, and even Aunt Kathy herself. They have seen the real you. They see what you are. And they know the type of person you really are in real life. Because they lived through that shit. So you can come on YouTube or Facebook or wherever the fuck you want to find validation from. And you can go and say all this nasty shit about your mother, your dead mother, or even your grandmother. Or actually, no. Because I know you hold your grandmother in high regards. But now you're saying that your grandmother, even your grandmother hated you. And again, stop with this fucking pity party shit. It's getting old. It's getting fucking old. And we've seen this happen before. We've seen you act like this. And you can go and say, it's all Aunt Kathy's fault, all you want. But again, who's the bigger person here? You or Aunt Kathy? Because from what I've seen from Aunt Kathy, she didn't have to show her face and stare into the camera to say this shit. She just said what was on her mind. And what was on her mind is telling the truth. She didn't have to sound like an emotionless robot or act over dramatic, over trivial bullshit. She was pretty much ponying you. And because she had the screenshots from your Facebook that shows your true colors. And it paints a picture of how much of an ungrateful little brat you really are. When you had that $10,000, you spent it all on frivolous shit. Junk food, electrical appliance. You even paid for fucking Netflix. You used most of that on utilities. And you pretty much you even got Netflix. And you went out to eat at Red Lobster or some fancy street food venue. And you were pretty much having the time of your life for a majority of 2.5 weeks until you ran out of that money faster than Red did in a span of 2 years. We all hate her, Chase the Train. We all hate her. I think everybody who has watched Adonis Paul or Hatman or Daywave, they hate her with a passion. Every member of the fuck people despises Adrazia. And I'm one of the people who despise her too, with every fiber of my fucking being.
She had been drinking rubbing alcohol. And she hit my grandmother. And I called the police and put her in jail for elder abuse.
I think that was you, Mary. You pretty much were hitting your grandmother
and she
too.
attacked the police.
I think
bit the shit out of one of them.
Once again,
That was my mom.
Once again, Mary.
Who would get drunk.
Again, Mary. I'm beginning to think that none of this shit happened. I don't think. I know that this shit never happened. It's just another one of these stories that you ripped off in your little books, in your shitty excuse of a book. I'm pretty sure you stole that from Dave Pelzer's A Child Called It, or Flowers in the Attic, or whatever, or even Silence of the fucking Lambs, because you used Silence of the Lambs to describe the type of person Kenneth McBride was.
Can go running down the street barking at dogs. Wake up in a ditch somewhere.
Like I said, the only arrest records I can find were from... There were arrest records, Chase the Train, but not for fighting a police officer, not for elder abuse. Most of it is pretty much larceny, robbery, and prostitution, and that's just about it. The rest of that shit, the ones where she was fighting the cop, that was made up. That was made up. Mary just made that up. Mary just pulled that out of her ass to demonize her mother even more, because again, it's everyone's fault for why Mary is acting like this. Like what she did with her father before, and now she's doing the same thing to her dead mother. And this is a pattern that has, and hell, even her own sister is calling her out on that bullshit. It hasn't been a month since her mother recently passed away, and already she's saying all this hateful shit about her. And you wonder why everybody hates her right now? It's because she says shit like this. She'll use every opportunity to demonize anyone that she doesn't like. And I'm sure you and everybody else know that, right, Chase? Well, of course you know that. You've seen Mayo. You've seen the Mayo documentary. So again, it's not opinion when it's fact. And like I said, I commend Adonis Paul for doing his research, for getting in touch with the people who knew her in real life. Her people who used to be her neighbors, family members, neighbors, old friends, friends of her ex. Everyone knew the type of person Mary was. Friends of her father. Hell, even friends of her father and even friends of her parents knew what type of person Mary was.
That was my mom. She spent 40 years. She was 59 when she passed, 56 when she passed. Started drinking at 13, so that's over 40 years of hard drinking and hard drug use and hard abuse to the body that she did to herself. And people are now saying, well, if you had given her an organ, why did I have to? Why am I expected to? I'm not the one that drowned her original organs. And the woman didn't care about me. Nobody is entitled to your...
Yeah, that's the name. Yeah, the Batman. That's the title of the Adrastia documentaries that Adonis Paul made. The title is called Mayo, the Adrastia story. The reason why he called it Mayo was because of a running joke. A running joke that was perpetuated by Daywave Radio's hosts Royce Lopez and JJ Stoner, and it was derived from a video that they reviewed on one of their shows, which was the video of where Adrastia put mayo in her hair. And she didn't put like a dollop. She didn't squeeze like a little droplet on her finger and lathered it and massaged it in her hair. No, she squeezed an entire bottle of mayonnaise into her hair and combed her hair while doing so. It's basically an old family recipe or a secret, and it's used to treat lice. Mayonnaise and apple cider vinegar and kerosene. Yeah, it's a method to treat lice, and it is a common thing that most people use, to make your hair fuller. But like what JJ said, is you got to put it. You use a dollop. You don't squeeze an entire bottle or even scoop like a spoonful and just pour it into your hair. No, you put like a little droplet on your finger, on your index finger and thumb, and then you just lather it until it gets like transparent, and then you massage it. It's a common practice. But like I said, Mary did it in the dumbest way possible. Maybe she didn't know that you're not supposed to squeeze the entire bottle into your hair.
Your vital organs. Not even your parents are entitled to your vital organs. But now people are calling me a murderer and saying that I killed my mother because I didn't give her one of my organs after she destroyed her own. Let's go to the comments so y'all can see. New one right up there, of course. And it's hateful. They all, always.
Of course, they're all hateful.
Vladimir Putin. How dare you?
It's
Your
Putin.
lack of care or introspecting is astounding. You said you offered to give that organ to your mother in exchange for the truth. You absolutely disgust me, Adrastia.
Mm-hmm.
You let your mother die.
Mm-hmm.
I started as a defender of yours, but your actions and statements have completely turned me around.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't give your own mother a part of you that would save her. That is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Yet you were owed a place to live, money for food from society, but you chose to let your own mother die.
True. Couldn't have said it better myself. Vladimir Putin.
Didn't mean to hit that.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Vladimir Putin. And a lot of people did call her murderer.
I'll eventually hit the right spot.
Wow, you don't even know how to...
There it is. Okay. You
Split
let
up.
your own mother die. I offered a life-saving organ for my mother in exchange for... Most people
Why does
would
Never
freely and
mind.
excitedly offer their dying mother that organ. What the actual fuck, Mary?
Exactly.
It has to be something in it for her. Pathetic. Welcome to the rest of your tormented life on Earth. She's disgusting.
True.
Reminder, the woman who was needing an organ actively destroyed her own organs for decades and would not have stopped if she received a new one.
It doesn't fucking matter. What you did was disgusting.
Why don't you respond to your comments? You withheld a life-saving organ from your own mother.
Exactly. Why does... I mean... Usually Adrasdia hides her comments or deletes people's comments and then blocks them because, again, Adrasdia wants to hide from the truth. She wants to create this little echo chamber where she is the victim all the time. Why do you think she always keeps responding to comments? Because in her mind, whenever someone posts comments like this under her videos, she responds and says that they're the ones at fault and not her. Honestly, if that doesn't sound like someone who is guilty of a crime, I don't know what is. What does? If that doesn't scream guilty as charged, I mean, an innocent person wouldn't block people's comments if they know that they're innocent. You know what I'm saying? Of course you do. She is extremely guilty. Guilty as charged, and a lot of people know. Yeah. Yep. And she tries to play herself off as the victim, when in actuality, she is the aggressor. And she tries to act like she's innocent in all this, when in actuality, she is guilty of everything. Maybe she may have coerced. It's obvious that she probably, I mean, it's safe to say that she may have coerced Kenneth McBride. It's obvious to say that she may have coerced Ken McBride into killing Roberta Laws. And she tried to paint herself off as the victim in all this. I mean, let's face it, Adrasdia is not that smart. And Aunt Kathy has said it, that she's not crazy, she's just dumb. And I couldn't agree anymore. I couldn't agree more, Aunt Kathy. This evil monster. This monster has proven time and again that she cannot show any empathy, even if it saved her life. There always has to be someone, there always has to be a villain in her story. Because if she created this narrative out of nothing, then it would be meaningless. And that it would pretty much defeat the purpose of trying to portray herself as the innocent victim. Like I said, she's innocent, anything but innocent. And she wants us to believe that she is justified in refusing to donate an organ to save her dying mother's life. I mean, again, miss me with that shit.
Who then died, and now you simply because you drank too much and bruised your knees.
Just fucking deplorable. This is smug dress.
Hatred, envy, disgust, contempt, deception. Those are the vibes I get from every one of your videos.
That's true. Same here.
My mom died. Here's how it's affecting my life.
It is all hatred.
You're very mistaken in the fact that the vast majority of family members give their organs simply because they love the people they're helping. The fact that you automatically think there has to be an exchange speaks volumes as to who you all really are deep inside. A strong and loving person would have put everything aside to save the life of their mother. You seriously are a monster. I am so glad I do not have to live with the deeds you have done.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, it's always best to be around family because, again, you're around family to Batman. Because at the end of the day, at least you're not a Drastia. And that's the lesson I want to leave when I end this stream, is that don't be a Drastia. Don't be a Drastia, folks. Don't take everything for granted and expect everything in return when you don't get your way. And that is the story of someone like a Drastia, is that this woman, this heartless demon of a woman, has taken everything that for granted. And she complains that it's not enough for her. And you wonder why nobody likes you, Mary. And you wonder why nobody is going to feel sorry for you for when you end up going away. I mean, these videos have proven otherwise, that you cannot, for the life of you, even dare feel any remorse for your actions because you think that you're justified in your claims. You lost your mother, and you're complaining that, and you're saying that it's her fault that your mother died? What kind of person says that about their family member who just passed away? And I could tell why people can see a Drastia as a reason to drink. And I'm on board with you. The reason why I don't drink is because, again, I'm on medication. And if I drink, it'll cause me to go into, it'll disrupt the process of my medication.
I joked with my mom that I'd trade my kidney for a car, but of course I donated just because I love her. She's been in great health since this procedure in 2007. Mary makes me sick with her. I'll trade a life-saving organ for what I want you to say online. Her mom's death and Roberta's murder will haunt her for the rest of her life.
True. And they will. They're not wrong. I'm surprised I didn't leave a comment.
If you cared, you would have helped your mom.
I wish I'd left a comment, but then again, I must have. But she probably had me.
You don't fit in. No one wants you. And that's not all of them. That's not all of them.
We all
A lot
know.
of them get deleted.
Well, of course.
Or anybody sees them but me.
Well, of course, everybody. Of course they get deleted because, again, you don't like it when people tell the truth about you. So you delete comments but you delete comments because they pretty much tell the truth about you. And you block people because you don't want to hear what others say about you. Because, again, you are deplorable. You refuse to grow up. You refuse to take accountability for what you've done, for what you've said. And you expect everyone to feel sorry for you? Like I said, get out of here with that shit. No one is gonna feel sorry for someone who refuses to show any, who cannot, for the life of her, show any human emotion. And I wouldn't even consider calling you human at this point, since you basically feed off hatred. And that's basically all you're known for is hatred. At most, unbridled hatred for everyone who has tried to be nice to you. And you're mad that they're calling you a murderer?
Last year, I made a video offering one of my organs to my mother if she would sit down and have a conversation with me, a truthful, honest conversation.
I remember that. I reviewed that in one of my streams when I started looking into you. And boy, howdy, I never thought I'd see someone who is extremely, extremely ungrateful. You don't deserve to have your mother's sympathy. You don't even deserve to have anyone's sympathy because you think that you are owed compensation for the fake abuse that you claim to have gone through. Honestly, I'd expect less from someone like you, but then again, every time you open your mouth, it gets worse every time. And you go as far as to try and manipulate people into feeling sorry for you, only to fail in the end. Because truth, to be honest, Mary, no one should ever feel sorry for a heartless monster like you. A person who cares about nobody but herself and her pursuit of being the biggest victim on the planet. And as I said, you're never going to change. You don't even want to change. You just want to continue being worse and worse. And frankly, why even try? You know damn well that no one should ever give you money. No one should ever give you monetary gain or even give you any sympathy. You have no empathy, Mary. So, again, we're going to show you none in return. And I've said this. Mary has no empathy. So, again, we're going to show you none in return. Why do you think when I do my Mary Sunday streams, I have a banner? I put like a banner that says, Mary has no empathy. Show her none in return. Because again, Mary doesn't have any empathy. So why should we show her any? She's just going to repeat the same shit over and over again. And I know a lot of people would try and see the good in her. Trust me, there is no good in Mary. There never was any good in her. And I know a lot of you will complain, but you're only judging a book by its cover. Yeah, but the thing is, her book is basically a complete rip-off of other people's works. So, yeah. Not unless the book is ripped off from other people's work. Then I would have every right to judge it. If it's try hard and edgy. Because her story sounds extremely try hard and edgy. Almost like it's a work of fiction. Almost like a work of fiction. Am I right?
It didn't happen. They chose for her to die rather than to tell the truth about the abusive shit that I have struggled with. And then they say that it's my fault.
Well, it is.
It's gaslighting and manipulation. And they're doing it because they want me to hurt myself. They want to hurt me so deeply that I take my own life. They have been doing this for over a year and will use anything they can to hurt me, including blaming me for my own mother's death. Even though my mother was a heavy alcoholic, was heavily abusive, did not love me, and would not even take 5 minutes to have a conversation with me in her last days on earth. She had so many years to make a connection with me if she wanted to, and she never did. But it's my fault now.
It
that
is.
She's dead. It's my fault because I have all these fucking organs. It's my fault.
You do know you're starting to sound like Cyrax here. Two more videos. I'm going to show 2 more videos and then we're going to end it. Because, again, just hearing this kills my brain cells. And I really need to get something to eat because, again, this shit is too much for me.
So I'm genuinely curious. You that follow my aunt, you that believe my aunt and trust my aunt and fully believe that I have been lying my entire life about the abuse I've suffered. Right? I lied. It's all lies, right?
Well, yeah, it's all lies. But you don't want to admit it because, again, you'll find any excuse to even exasperate everything that anyone's told you. I mean, God damn it, guys. There's no point in trying to argue with Mary. Every time you leave a comment in her videos, every time people leave comments in her videos, she's only going to use it to further her own delusions. She'll use it against you. I mean, what's the point? She'll just use it against you.
My mother just died from liver failure from alcohol poisoning.
Whose fault is that?
Now, the fuck is that? Honking. Sorry.
That's the popo.
It makes sense for somebody who has been heavily abused to turn to alcohol, to self-medicate, and die young because of it. That makes total and complete sense.
Well, you're pretty much following your mother's footsteps by doing the same thing. Am I right? So, again, you say you want to die, you say you want to hurt yourself. You're pretty much doing what your mother did, what you claim your mother had done. You pretty much have been drinking. I mean, we've seen you drink constantly to numb your pain or to escape from reality. Smoking weed constantly. I mean, you're pretty much damaging your own liver just by drinking excessive amounts of alcohol. Then again, you've been doing that for about a while.
And it's what I've said, that my mother
Oh, hey, Michael, what's up?
was abused as a child because my grandmother's husband was abusive. And as a result, she went on to abuse her own children because she didn't know what love was. She didn't know how to be a functional, civilized member of society because she wasn't raised to be one.
I can say the same about you, Mary.
She fell into alcohol at 13 years old. Okay, these are facts. So if according to Kathy, my mother had a perfect upbringing, American dream. Their mother was wonderful.
And this was made in response to a video that Aunt Kathy made earlier. It was basically, this was made in response to a video that Aunt Kathy made. So she claims that she doesn't watch Aunt Kathy's video, and yet she's responding to a video that Aunt Kathy made. So yeah, who's the liar here, Mary? Clearly not Aunt Kathy. No.
Father was wonderful. There was no excuse for my mother to start drinking at 13 years old other than the fact that she wanted to be fucked up, right? That's the ongoing theory from Kathy now, right?
Well, if I'm not, this sounds like projection. Doesn't this sound like projection, Michael? Because I'm beginning to see a lot of that happening in most of these locales, is that they're pretty much trying to project their own insecurities onto everyone else. Oh shit, wrong area.
Is that my mom, she had no inner demons she was trying to drink away. Some people just like to get fucked up, right? And it had nothing to do with my father being abusive because Kathy says that didn't happen either, right? She knew my father. He was the sweetest man, nicest.
Well, you don't really. Again, Mary, I don't know your childhood. So, again, I'm not going to be judging based on what you. But then again, I'd rather take Aunt Kathy's word over yours any day. So, you just lost on that argument, too.
Kindest, most caring, never hurt a fly, right? She knew him. She loved him. She defends him. So if she had this wonderful, perfect husband, why was she drinking so much? If it wasn't to escape the hell that her life had become, what point would there be? Oh, right, just to get fucked up. Well, that makes her a great person, doesn't it? Isn't the person Kathy is painting of her little sister just wonderful? Not an abuse victim. Not somebody who was drinking heavily to mask the pain and that hide the inner demons that she was fighting. But just, since there was no inner demons, since there was no pain, then she was just a bitch that liked to get fucked up from the age of 13 on. That's my problem too, right? Y'all constantly say, I have nothing to fight. I have no inner demons. I have no trauma. So my getting high is just because I want to get high. It has nothing to do with my horrid childhood. It has nothing to do with everything that I've been through. No, I just like to get high. Like my mom. Peas in a pod, right?
It is projection.
And that resulted in even more hate.
Hold on,
from
I'll be right
people angry that I would dare to try to defend myself by telling the truth.
Well, you are defending
All I do
yourself.
is tell the truth.
Actually, I wouldn't
It
even
makes
consider it
people
defending,
angry.
since you're pretty
Because
much
people don't want the truth.
lying out your ass and
So they
trying
wanna
to
keep telling it.
shift the blame on everyone else.
Nobody
And yes,
deserves to be spoken
like
to
what Chase the Train said, shut the fuck
the
up,
way that
Mary.
People are speaking to me. Nobody.
I've seen
Nobody
shittier arguments from
deserves to be
fucking
made to
Cyrax.
feel like they're
And that guy's
a murderer.
is a
For not
disgusting
giving
piece
up
of
a vital living
shit.
organ to
Yeah,
somebody
Cyrax.
who did not want
And
them.
I could see
And
a
y'all can say, well,
resemblance
you're
between the
just
two of
trash,
you.
your
Because
mother, you're just
again,
talking
you both
shit
are
about me.
cockeyed
I'm
looking.
telling the truth.
You look like you've
Telling the truth about
been-
somebody should not be considered talking shit.
you look like mutant
We need
anomalies.
to get past that as a
And
society.
you're
People think that if you're
always
talking badly,
everyone
though
else
it
to
must
why
be
you're like
lies,
this
it
way.
must
And
be
not to
garbage.
mention you're
No.
abusive to your
Sometimes
elders.
bad shit
You were
just
abusive to
happens,
your
and
elders.
sometimes people do bad
So,
shit.
yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
You and Cyrax are almost one and the same, except you never made a video or went on a live stream holding a fucking pen to your neck screaming, "You want me to end my life?" Well, you very much did something similar, but again, you didn't even threaten to go to people's houses and kill them, or even go to fight people, or
It's
wish
not
death on them.
downing somebody to talk about these things.
All right, I'm gonna mute.
You, my commenters and my emailers are constantly telling me, all we want is for you to take accountability. Right? Accountability, responsibility for things we believe you have done, but you didn't do. That's not how accountability works. You can take accountability for something that you have done. I refuse to take accountability for my mother's death because I did not kill my mother. She drank heavily for 40 years. You do not get to blame a child who won't give up their vital organs when the woman drank herself to infinity. It is nobody's fault that another human being drinks themselves to death. Period. She made the choice to drink. And many people say, well, it's an addiction. You can't just get over it. No, you can't. But when you're living for 40 years that way and refusing to stop for any reason, okay? And when she was a child, the reason was because her father sucked and her mom was gone. Fine. Well, then she got married and the reason was all these fucking kids and my abusive husband. Fine. Well, then her fucking abusive husband killed himself. Well, now I have to deal with this. I can't stop drinking now. My husband just died. Okay, fine. Well, now your son's dead. Well, I can't stop drinking now. My son's dead. Okay, fine. Well, now your mother said, well, I can't stop drinking now. My mother said. Do you understand how this works? Do you understand that there's always going to be another excuse? Always going to be something else. The same thing that was stopping her from stopping became the reason that she kept going. Well, I can't stop drinking. My husband's beating me for every night. Well, he's dead now. But I loved him, so now I have to deal with that. You cannot take accountability for something that you are not responsible for. My mother could have taken accountability for being a bad mother to me. She didn't. And I'm not going to take accountability for the fact that we didn't reconnect, because communication is a two-way street. She could have reached out to me. She knew how to contact me. Everybody in this family knows how to contact me. My family is watching this video right now, knowing that they could comment anything they want, that they could email me.
I couldn't agree more.
Me. They tell people they don't know how to contact me. That's a lie. Because they watch every single video I make. They know where I live. They know everything about me.
Well, you put that shit out there.
Except legally how to contact me.
No, because
But everybody else knows how to contact me. The things that you people keep saying I need to take accountability for are not my fault. You want me to take accountability for the murder of Roberta Laws. I didn't murder Roberta Laws.
That's true.
And I'm not taking accountability or responsibility for a crime that somebody else committed. I did not kill her. I did not want her dead. I never even went to trial as an accessory or an accomplice, because I didn't do anything.
Yeah, you tell yourself that. Yeah, there was a plea bargain. Yeah, but you agreed to a plea bargain to get off the hook. So yeah, you took that when they offered it to you. So it wouldn't make you look like a suspect when the trial went, when Kenneth went to trial. But yeah.
Man who murdered Roberta Laws is in prison. He pled guilty.
For you. He pled guilty for you, Mary. He pled guilty for you because he knew that you wouldn't last a day behind bars.
He pled principle that he is the only person guilty. And yet for the last year, people have been telling me that I need to take accountability for this crime.
Well, you do.
No, thank you. I won't take accountability for something I did not do.
Again, your words. Would I be wrong to say that you coerced Kenneth into murdering Roberta?
I take accountability for things that I have done. I was a heavy alcoholic.
So it goes to show how the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Am I right? You claim that your mother was a heavy alcoholic. I think now you're saying that you were a heavy alcoholic. It goes to show, again, apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
And I accept that. And I admit that. And I remember that. Like when I was hanging out with my friend who gave me the truck, every night he would offer me alcohol. And I turned him down because I told him I don't want to start drinking again because I know that I have an addiction problem. I used to be heavily addicted. I don't want to go back.
You still are heavily addicted.
Obviously,
You still are heavily addicted. We just don't see it. You still are. We just don't see it on camera, but we know damn well that either you're faking it or the body language is extremely important to pay attention to. And that's one of the things you need to understand when it comes to these types of people, is that their body language speaks volume. And this is someone who obviously has an extreme, and she claims to be borderline personality, and she claims to have like BPD, CPTSD, schizoaffective disorder, or whatever illnesses she claims to have. And yet she doesn't show proof that she has any of these illnesses. But we have to take her by her word. Do we really think that? I mean, again, Mary, do you really think people are so stupid enough to buy into your bullshit? I mean, everyone on the internet, everyone who has seen your videos, they know that you make up shit just for sympathy. And you react in a childish manner whenever you don't get your way. There are videos where you're threatening suicide over petty arguments with people in your comment section or people who sent emails to you. I mean, for God's sakes, Mary, you threatened to kill yourself live and try to frame Royce Lopez of Daywave Radio for it, for what happened to you. I mean, even if you didn't murder Roberta, you still had an involvement for the crime. Just because Kenneth is behind bars serving a life sentence doesn't mean that he wasn't the only one. I mean, unless you make up a story saying that he hacked into your account and pretty much sent emails to himself and try to pit it on you. But again, even that is a bit too far-fetched. But again, you probably believe it anyways, because in your mind, it's always you. It's always how poor of a victim you are. You're always trying to find some excuse to use it against others to, I don't know, make yourself look even more of a bigger victim than you already are. And then every time, and it makes you look even worse every time you open your mouth. So yeah.
This year I began drinking again because I fucking broke down. I stopped already. I drank through December and January and then I was done. Because I realized how much I hated it. I hate the way it makes me feel. I hate what it did to my mother. And I hate everything about it.
And
but
then
I
you're
still desperately want it.
And you're blaming addiction.
Oh, so badly. But I will continue turning away from it because I know what it does to you. It doesn't help. That's me taking accountability for my problems. I had a drinking problem.
You still do.
I avoid alcohol. That's taking accountability.
What about, you say you avoided alcohol, but what about when you couldn't afford weed, so you returned to alcohol? What about that? I'm pretty sure Virgie and AP would point that out later on tonight when they do a show about you. Because again, you are not reliable as a narrator because anything you say is an obvious lie. And you try to pin it on everyone else. Honestly, I don't understand how anyone could even put up with the type of person you are. Everybody knows that this is your only coping mechanism, is to play the victim, hoping to escape reality and hoping that someone would be stupid enough to believe in everything you say. And of course, there have been people who would believe everything you say. One of them is James Robert Clark. One of them is James. But the only reason why he's believing you is because again, James Clark has a hate boner for Adonis Paul. And that's why he's siding with you. Because he saw you hate Adonis Paul too. He has a hate boner for Royce Lopez and Adonis Paul. And therefore, he saw that you hate him. And that's when he decided to defend you every time you open your mouth. Every time he sees people saying nasty things about you, he comes on to defend you. Even in your comment section, he tries to defend you. And James, I know you're watching this. You're not fooling anybody. You got caught looking at watching. It wasn't kitty porn, but you dug your own grave too, James. You pretty much dug your own grave. Both of you. Five people watching. Again, like the stream, guys. Like this stream and share this shit around. And I apologize for earlier because I didn't have a mic ready.
I cannot take accountability for something that I have not done and have refused to. Period. No matter how many of you abuse me and hurt me and bombard me with hatred, I can only be responsible for things that I have actually done, not for things that people have done around me that they claimed was because of me. That's not how it works. Human beings have freedom of everything. We can have our own thoughts, our own actions, our own ideas. Nobody is puppet mastering you. Nobody is controlling you except you. My mother was heavily controlled by alcohol and drugs because that's where her mind was taken over at 13. And yes, it is an addiction. And yes, it is a fucked up thing. But it is not why did it become her children's responsibility? It never should have been. And y'all don't seem to think that it's my sister's problem. You know, I have an older sister and a younger sister who could just as easily have done the same thing I could have done. Donated blood, donated kidney, liver. But they clearly didn't. And yet I'm the only one that is told that I murdered her because I chose to keep all of my organs. And people are going to see it. That is the only hope that I have at this point, that one day the right people are going to find my channel and they're going to see the comments and they're going to see the truth and the honesty in my words, and they're going to understand that I have been being treated wrongly for years, that I have been demonized and mentally destroyed for speaking out about the abuse that happened to me. That is not a lie. The abuse that I have spoken about is true.
No, it's not, Mary. The abuse that happened to you was from a book that you ripped off and used, a book that you ripped off. So yeah, once again, it's real in your head because they didn't even give you the time of day because, again, you're ungrateful and selfish.
And will remain true. No matter how many of you believe it.
Nobody believes it.
My family didn't turn their backs on me.
Yes.
Because I was a mad drug addict or a crazy criminal.
Well, yeah,
They turned me away because my grandmother loved me. And nobody else in the family did.
Oh, God.
And because I spoke out, they came back. From 2015, after my grandmother passed, until 2020 when I published my book, they were gone. They didn't contact me. They didn't care. But then I write an anonymous book talking about my childhood.
It wasn't
and
anonymous.
Suddenly my family is back and they need to hurt me.
Nope.
And they need to destroy me and they need me to kill myself.
Well, you were saying slanderous
I
shit.
wrote an anonymous book that told the truth. And now there are thousands of people out there siding with my family, telling me to kill myself every day, calling me a liar for pain that I truly lived through.
Again, no.
And my family is just allowed to just watch and laugh. The family scapegoat is taking the blame for everything once again, even though she told the truth. Just stick together and keep calling her a liar, and we'll never have to take accountability for it.
Well, you are a liar, Mary. You are a liar. Because, again, Mary, I have to say this. You have lied so many times that you don't even know what the truth is. And that's why nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Anyway, this is going to be I got one last video, and then we're going to be done for the evening. Because, again, just hearing this type of shit really will piss you off. So this is...
For those of y'all that are coming and say, well, you're addicted to weed, so you're no better.
That's true.
No, I'm not any better. And yes, I am dependent on marijuana.
I'm dependent on Adderall.
But at least the drug that I've become dependent upon to help with my inner demons isn't going to kill me. Ever. You're never going to die from too much marijuana. Unlike the other drugs that people in my family have chosen to fight their demons. Like alcohol, pain medications, meth, heroin. My mom was on all of them at one point.
So are you.
While having children.
And you can't have children. Anyway, that's going to do it. She's already Quasimodo. She's turning into Cyrax. Anyway, that's going to do it for tonight. I mean, this evening. Oh my God. I never thought anything could be this evil, this horrid. But then again, Mary is the absolute worst. She is absolutely the worst person to ever exist. And this rabbit hole, it goes deeper than anyone expects. And I know a lot of people give Shani some shit, but then again, Mary is even worse than Shani in almost every aspect. Adrazia has shown that she can be worse than Shani. Hell, she can even be worse than Trisha. Both Trishas. None of them were ever accessories to murder like Mary was. And that's a fucking accomplishment, Mary. Congratulations. Congratulations, Mary. You are now worse than Shani, in my eyes. Because again, you refuse to take responsibility for what you do, much like Shani. However, you go on to demonize your own dead mother, and then you go and say it's your family's fault, and then you try to like play the victim and expect complete strangers to feel sorry for you. I mean, wow. Face it, Adrazia, you're never going to change. You're just going to keep repeating the same shit over and over again. And you have got to be the worst person I've ever seen. I mean, I've talked about you for almost a year now. And even every time I do a stream on you or every time I cover you, you just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And I have tried to get everyone else to slurt about you, even though most people have their own drama to deal with, have their own stable of cows to look at. But again, you, Mary, because you, Mary, you obviously have shown time and again that you will never, ever get better. You will never improve. And you're just going to end up being the same monster you already are. I mean, you had 3 documentaries made on you that pretty much detail the aspects of your life. And it's not from your family's words, but from the videos that you've posted that probably have been privated, but have been archived. Because again, you have a habit of either deleting or privating videos. And your only coping mechanism is to commit suicide, is to threaten suicide to get your way. You insist that people should validate your victimhood? I mean, come on, Mary. I mean, that was brutal. You're right. Like I said, a lot of people. I'm sorry. Sorry. Had a loogie in my throat. But again, Mary, you need to shut up and grow up. You're almost 40 fucking years old, and you're acting like a goddamn child. I mean, then again, I have to say this. I mean, you have a Kiwi Farms thread on you. There are 3 documentaries made on you. And you really think that people are going to look at your videos and do you really think people are going to look at your videos years from now and side with you? No. They're just going to look at you and see how much of a irreprehensible bitch you really are to people. The people who were part of your family. And that's all I have to say. So, fuck you, Adrazia. Fuck you, up the ass, long dick style. Anyway, as for everyone else, I mean, I'm sorry you had to listen to that. I mean, it is a roller coaster ride of absolute pain and idiocy. And
I appreciate your taking the time out of your day to watch this type of shit, even though I've only had a few watchers, and some of them usually dip out in the first minute. But again, if you like this shit, please hit that like button. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel and click the bell notification. I don't know if you still are interested in subscribing to my channel, but if you can't afford to go see a dominatrix and you want to feel bad, yeah, why not take a look at my other videos or my other streams and maybe handcuff yourself to a radiator. I'm not here to judge, but if you can't afford any of those things, you can just, I don't know, subscribe to my channel, share this shit around. And if you can afford, but for those of you who are generous and can afford that stuff, again, you can also support me by donating to my PayPal, Cash App, or even checking out my Patreon or Streamlabs. All links are in the description. And thank you. Oh, no, thank you, Michael. I mean, it's hard to make Adrazi entertaining, but I do it anyways because it means a lot. Because, again, I try looking at it through a more psychological analysis. But then again, Mary is deplorable. And like I said, Mary, like I said, if you like this shit, please hit that like button, share this shit with your friends, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. And again, like I said, if you feel generous and want to donate a few dollars my way, I have a PayPal and Cash App and the links are in the description as well as in the chat. My goal, again, once again, is I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers so that I can have like a community tab. And if I reach that goal, I might do like a gaming stream or an art stream. One of the two, but we'll discuss that when we reach that milestone. Anyway, Adrazia, for you, I'm going to end this off with a song. You really should listen to the lyrics because it describes the type of person you really are. Once again, I am Rickzilla, and I shall see you guys in the near future. Peace out, folks. We don't have to take